Let me just say as a disclaimer that this is not a list of items you must buy. This is not a list of items you need to have. What I'm sharing here is the items or the equipment that I purchased as I was actually growing and learning about the business. Looking back on it now, I probably didn't need to buy some of the stuff, but if you look at the items that I purchased, you can kind of see the progression as I got more familiar with different techniques and different processes. You can see the growth or the ascension of my knowledge about, different fabrics and different processes. So these are not items that you need to buy. And if it seems ridiculous, some of the items that I did get, it's kind of where I was at the time. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Peg. We back again with the second installment in this series. And what I want to do in this video is walk you through the equipment that I've been using to produce and make shirts. So I kind of want to go back a little bit and kind of, show you the equipment that I started off with, and then, really progress up to, what I have now, what I'm currently using. And then in subsequent videos, we'll kind of, see, new equipment as I buy it, and prayerfully as the business grows, you'll see that new equipment and kind of talk through, why I purchased it. Before I bought any equipment, I initially started off like every business person should start off with, is with an idea. The idea that I started off with goes back to my childhood, growing up in Queens, New York, a sneaker fanatic. The one thing that I did every summer in the high school years, and as soon as I was old enough, was work summer youth to get me a pair of Jordans. Had to do that. And once I had those Jordans, I needed to find something to go with my fresh pair of J's. And the one thing I didn't want was an outfit that everybody else had, an outfit that you can go to Dr. J's or Jimmy Jazz or any place to pick up. And I didn't want to bump into somebody who had on the same outfit as me. I wanted to stand out. I wanted to be unique. So that kind of mentality has stuck with me throughout all of these years. So even as an adult and starting this business, what I wanted to start a business around was, you love sneakers. How about you start a t-shirt line that gives the customer an opportunity to customize and personalize their t-shirt or their shirt or their outfit in general. So unlike going to Macy's or Bloomingdale's or Nordstrom or most of these stores, you can go in and you can see the shirt. You can say, oh, I like this design, or maybe this has happened to you. You say, oh, I like this design, but I wish it came in this color. I wish it was, on this material, or I wish it was, smaller or bigger or on the back. And that's what Unfiltered Passion, the company I started, allows you to do. It allows you to customize and personalize all of my designs, all of the designs that I put up. So that was the idea I started off with, was starting a clothing brand that, allows you, the customer, to customize and personalize to your heart's content. So before I purchased anything, I started off with that idea. And then after I came up with this idea, it was like, well, how are you going to produce these shirts? I started with the usual suspects, custom ink, Vistaprint. Wasn't really happy with the quality, so pretty much went back to the drawing board, stumbled upon a book called Threadless, and then a website called T-Shirt Forums, which is a great resource for anybody who wants to know pretty much anything about printing on garments, everything from screen printing to DTG to even home-based processes that people use. You have people who were like me at the time, newcomers to seasoned veterans who's been doing this forever, all in the same place, kind of exchanging information and ideas. So I definitely recommend that resource. But using that resource, it led me to the first two purchases that I used on this journey, which was a heat press and a vinyl cutter. The vinyl cutter allows you to basically produce text-based shirts, to produce text-based designs, rather, pretty much in almost any color you can imagine. Most of the manufacturers like Sizer use Pantone colors, and they have pretty much every color in the rainbow, and even puff techniques and glow-in-the-dark vinyls, puff vinyls. They have, you know, pretty much almost any kind of vinyl that you can imagine. So I started with that because, you know, vinyl allows you to produce, you know, if you're doing shirts, you know, you can have as little as one shirt. You know, send that vinyl through the vinyl cutter, just weed it, heat press it, and you're done. You know, so you can do that in the house, and you know, that's kind of why I started with that. And then for designs that were going to be, you know, more photographic, the idea was that I would use plastisol transfers to produce those designs. So that's why I started with just the first purchases were heat press and a vinyl cutter, because I can use the heat press to obviously press the vinyl, just weed the, you know, I send the design, you know, to the vinyl cutter, press the vinyl, you know, weed the vinyl, then press it using the heat press, and then bam, I got a shirt. And then also, if the design, you know, required, you know, more photographic technique, then I was going to take it and send that out to either to a company called FM Expression at the time that was in Jersey, or Versatrans, and they were going to produce and they produced for me plastisol heat transfers, again using the heat press. So I would go into Illustrator and go into Photoshop, come up with the design, you know, size it in the perfect size that I wanted, send it to them. In about 2 or 3 days, they would send it to me all ready to go. All I had to do was turn on the heat press and press it. And, you know, that was the first foray I had into producing shirts. So the reason why I went away from the vinyl was because I wasn't really happy with the quality of it. I mean, vinyl, if pressed right, should outlast the garment that it's heat pressed onto, but it never really felt like a high quality product, or never really felt, you know, at least equal. To me, it felt a little below what competitors were using, or, you know, where I'm kind of aligning myself with other brands I'm aligning myself with. It felt, you know, less quality to me, so I didn't stick with that. And the reason I went away from the plastisol transfers were because of the minimums. Plastisol transfers are basically just screen printing, not directly onto the garment, but onto special transfer paper, and they still had minimums. And so if I had a customer who had a special request, if you requested something from me in, you know, special colors, to produce that in just one design cost so much money, it wasn't sustainable. So I had to go away from that technique. So I started there, definitely a good learning process, but I quickly moved on from it. Next piece of equipment I purchased was the Epson 7520. And because, again, back on t-shirt forums, I learned about this process called JPSS, or this paper called JPSS rather, Jet Pro Soft Stretch. And what this allows you to do is it pretty much allows you to use your inkjet printer, and using this special JPSS paper, you could print onto the Jet Pro paper, and using a heat press, you can press that design onto a shirt. And it's cotton poly blends, or just poly. So I thought this must have been the greatest thing in the world. Why use plastisol transfers? Why use vinyl? Why use, DTG when using an inkjet printer? You can do this yourself. And the reason why I said I purchased a 7520 was because the 7520 holds up to 13 by 19 paper size. So your average chest design shouldn't be more than 12 to 12 and a half inches. So to me, this was the perfect thing to buy. And then I also got Cobra continuous ink system, so I didn't have to keep buying new ink cartridges. I could just buy ink in bulk and just refill the cartridges. So I thought this was going to be the technique to end all techniques. Print my own designs right here at home, don't gotta send anything out, I'm good to go. The reason why I went away from that was because with the Jet Pro technique, it does print onto the shirt, but the colors, aren't really vibrant like you would get from plastisol or from other techniques. And if you didn't basically either use something like a vinyl cutter or an X-Acto knife and cut out the white paper areas where you didn't print the design, it left like this filmy residue on a shirt. So you really had to, say for this design with oranges, you really had to take an X-Acto knife or a vinyl cutter and really cut around the orange, or you had this film. And then the only way to get rid of it was you had to wash it. Now, who wants to go through the process of washing a shirt before they send it and having that kind of dull, faded look? So that technique, as good as it was, I didn't really stick with. And then they also had another paper for darker garments, and that actually left this really thick, heavy film on top of, so basically you printed on paper and then it left this really thick design paper feel on top of it. Definitely not something that I could sell, so I went away from that. What I went to next was I actually bought a 7110 printer because I was going to start doing sublimation. And with sublimation, it allows you to basically print onto polyester garments. So I figured, okay, here's a way to use use my own printer. Now, I bought the 7110 so that I could use that with sublimation ink, because to do sublimation, you need special ink just for that. So I was like, you know what? I can get this, and if nothing else, I can print onto white shirts and light color garments, and I could have a photographic design onto white and light color garments, which actually did work. But, again, I really wasn't, to me, my colors came out dull. Maybe, other people have, better results. To me, the colors didn't, the quality was excellent, but I didn't, to me, the colors felt like they were dull, and, I really wasn't happy with that technique. So I went away from that. And then I also, for a little while, did socks with it. I bought the whole, bought special socks and, special inserts that went into socks to kind of stretch them out. And, I did pretty good with it, but they weren't really selling, really good on the website. So I kind of went away from that technique. And then, again, the other problem was, strictly polyester shirts and strictly light color shirts was all I could use with that. So after that, I purchased a Brother SE400, and to this day I still use it for cut and sew. You know, if I want to take a design or take a shirt, like say a long sleeve shirt like this, and then, you know, I could, you know, cut this shirt in half and then, you know, add another piece of fabric to it or a different color, or change the pocket out or change the hood. So I bought a sewing machine to really get into, you know, unique cut and sew designs, and to also do embroidery. Actually, I still use that today, and I still use that to this day, and I actually love it. And matter of fact, if you saw, and I actually post a picture of it, you know, with this video, if you saw my black cement 3 shirt that I made with the elephant print, that was cut and sew. I did something similar for the True Blue 3s that was cut and sew. So that is something that I really wanted to get into, to really do, you know, cut and sew designs for people who don't necessarily, you know, just want, you know, sublimation or all over print, you know, to really introduce new fabrics. I went there with it, and then because I'm such a control freak, because I wasn't really happy with the vinyl, because I really wasn't happy with the sublimation, and definitely not happy with the JPSS, what I ended up finally doing was biting the bullet and getting into screen printing. So I started with a Ryonet Raleigh Hopkins one-arm screen press. Again, wasn't really sure how much involved I was going to, you know, how much involved I was going to get with it. I knew it was going to be fairly expensive because you have to buy the ink, you have to buy squeegees, you have to buy spatulas, you have to buy screens, and it's a long and tedious and messy process. But the one thing I could say about doing it is that the quality is absolutely amazing. I've been doing plastisol, I've been doing also water-based inks, I've done puff inks, done glow in the dark. It is the quality is absolutely amazing. As you can kind of see from this, I'm pretty much a control freak. So I want to be, you know, I kind of want to control the process. And so screen printing, you know, was kind of up my alley. A lot of people, you know, if you watch, you know, any videos on starting streetwear brand, they recommend, you know, not investing in, you know, doing screen printing because it's messy, because it's time consuming. And again, you know, I say you have to do what works for you, because even if you don't, you know, screen print your own shirts, you know, for yourself, even if you send it off and do contract printing or send it off to somebody else, at least if you know, start doing it, you'll kind of know what's involved. You'll know what the process is. So, you know, if nothing else, you know, it's beneficial from that perspective of knowing what's involved in the process and kind of knowing what designs will work and what designs won't work. For me, because my business is based around customizing for people, it's, you know, based around you know, changing the designs, you know, when necessary. It's, you know, based on changing colors. Custom screen printing works for me because for most screen printers, there's a 100-piece minimum or a 50-piece minimum, or, you know, whatever their minimum is. Me screen printing the designs myself, I don't have that problem. I can just kind of put the price into the cost it takes me to produce it, and then that's the final price, you know, whether it's color matching and all that kind of stuff. So kind of the pros of screen printing is you control the process, you control the inks, you control whether it's plastisol inks or water-based inks. So you have full control from that perspective. But the disadvantages are it's hella costly because you need inks, you need squeegees, you need all kind of chemicals to clean the screens with. You need an exposure unit to expose the screens. You need transparent film to produce, you know, to put on the screens to expose them. So, you know, it's a full process, and as messy as it is, I love it. Again, because, you know, I've kind of taken the middleman out of the process, and it's kind of brought me to the next phase of, you know, or it kind of brought me to the new business, which is actually screen printing for others. So based off of some of the designs I've done for some of my clients, I've had people come to me and say, you know, I really love your work. I really love the quality of the shirts you're producing, and you just did one shirt for this person. Could you do 200 for me? Right now, I only have a one-arm screen printing press. And so what I've had to do was I've purchased a 6-color, 6-station press that I've purchased from Vastex, which should be coming any day now. And so with that, now I could really do high volume. And I've also ordered a conveyor dryer because I was using the heat press to do the curing. So with the new 6-color press and the conveyor dryer, I can really knock out some volume. So when that comes, you're going to see me having to uncrate and get that monster in the house down to the basement some way, somehow. But that's kind of where I'm going. So I know I rambled on, you know, long enough. I just kind of wanted to walk you through the equipment that I have and I've been using and kind of talk about why I use it. If you have any questions on specific equipment, you know, hit me up in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification button for the next steps. I think the next video I want to, well, in the next, you know, for the next videos, so I wanted to use this video to kind of look at the equipment I use for, you know, t-shirt or shirt production. And then I also want to do a video, you know, showing you how to set up your own video area, how to set up your own photo area. Also want to go through setting up a website, you know, which web host I use, which platform I use, and also want to go through setting up the legal aspects. So each of those will probably be their own video because they're time consuming. Again, not telling you what to do, just kind of walking you through what I did, and then hopefully that'll kind of bring us up to date. And I'll see you soon. Hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Hit the notification button. Any questions, any comments, hit me up. I'll see you next time. See you again next week. 1.